I am using a different spread this time. This is just to, give me a fresh pair of eyes, mainly because I've been using the same spread for the past logical natal wheel. And this is pretty much, divided into 12 houses. I pulled out a card for each house so that we can pin. It's a good spread to use to anticipate some of the challenges coming through for the month, as well as how they're playing out in our psyche, so that we can actively, change the things in our environment that we're not happy with, okay? So I'm going to go over it and explain it as I go through the cards. So it will be very, easy to understand, all right? After that, then I'm going to do your love reading, and I'm using the Joie de Vivre deck by Paulina Cassidy, for those of you who are wondering. And the love reading will be the same format. So let me just talk about this spread here. So we're going to start with the first house, and the first house deals with your identity. This is usually, the rising sign, the face that you project into the world, okay, and the way you carry yourself, your personality, and things like that. This is kind of like how other people see you. We have here the Page of Wands in the reverse position. The Page of Wands in the a little bit impatient and a little bit kind of like ruminating and dwelling on the past. You're looking at a past situation, and I do feel a little bit of like I almost want to say like resentment, and I almost want to say like unfinished business being brought over, and like the unfinished business is happening in your mind. You're thinking about it, and I feel like you might be obsessing over it, but there isn't anything that you can do about it. So it's very important for you to keep things into perspective. Be a little bit more patient, be a little bit more concise and clear and directed with your communication. It's very, very important not to channel this energy, because it usually indicates somebody who is, they don't communicate very well, and they can also I guess like rile people up for the wrong reason, okay? So this is like, news that are, it's like somebody who might be misinformed and who might be spreading ideas and things that are not appropriate. So just be very, very careful with the way that you are projecting. Be patient when dealing with others. Watch the tone that you are interacting with other people, as well as, cultivate that sense of, I guess like learning to sit still, learning to wait for things to come to you, rather than charging ahead to, rather than being too aggressive when charging forward and charging ahead. On the other side of the coin, the Page of Wands is somebody with a lot of ideas, and I feel like this is a very inventive, creative, impatient, but also very creative, very inventive, very intelligent energy. I feel that a lot of you are sitting on a lot of good ideas, and I feel that you want to move ahead, you want to charge ahead to make money from these ideas and to bring them into the world. But for whatever reason, the environment that you're dealing with, it might not be the right time, or the people that you're dealing with, the people around you, they might not be on board because they think it is too risky. So just be careful, and we're still dealing with the tail end of that Mercury in retrograde, as well as the shadow period. So don't make any moves until the end of the month, and I feel that it's going to pan out well for you, okay? These ideas are great, but the timing is not just yet, so don't push ahead for them, okay? And I feel like other people are telling you this as well. They're telling you to wait, wait, and wait, and you feel like, no, I need to act now. So it's really important for you not to jump the gun, and to really sit down and reassess, okay? I do feel some of you are carrying some type of, you're looking back at the past, right? And I feel like there's a little bit of like resentment. There's a little bit of like dwelling on the past, but you're not doing anything about it because it's in the past, it's out of your life, it's out of your control. And I feel that a lot of you are still trying to figure out something from your past. You're either looking into it, you're either like instigating it or something. So just be careful of that energy, okay? Let the past go. We are moving. In your second house here is the Eight of Wands. And the second house rules money and your values. So let's talk about money first. I feel like money is going to be just a little bit slow this month. I feel that you have enough abundance. Like there's financial, there's financial abundance in your environment. However, if you are working on a client basis, for example, if you work off sales or commission, there might be a little bit of a slowdown. It's the beginning of the year when people are doing, their taxes, or when they're doing their fiscal report, their annual reports, or the end of the year report as well. So I feel that there is kind of like financial uncertainty. That's why there is a little bit of a slowdown. So I feel that it's not, don't get worried about this, because it indicates a lot of communications, a lot of opportunities coming through, either through email, some type of virtual communication coming in for you, for a lot of as to how you can make money. I feel like a lot of communications coming in from people where they're asking about things, but they might not follow through when it comes to the actual transaction. So there's kind of like, like dead ends, leads going nowhere, and like expending a lot of time on a specific situation just to pan out, just to know that the other people are going to pan out. So aren't going to pan out. So I feel like there might be, you might be thrown like dead leads. Okay. Just be careful about that and be very, very patient. Don't get frustrated. What I also feel with the Eight of Wands when it comes to your value system here is be careful about who you are sharing, secrets with. Be careful about where you are getting the sources of information, your sources of information. I do feel there is heavy, heavy philosophical debates. And I feel that it's really important for you to curb your tongue and, communicate in a way where it doesn't like tear the other person down. So, as adults, we can all have discussions, even though we don't agree on a specific thing. Don't make it an emotional discussion about, some philosophical topics. So, for example, if you don't agree with somebody, the things that they believe in, whatever it is, political, religious, whatever it is, argue more from, a rational standpoint rather than getting on a moral like high ground and preaching. So I feel that it's really important to be careful when it comes to communication for this month. I feel that you might not have, adequate information, and you might have read something without knowing it in depth, and then you might, try to pass it off as if it's the truth. And I do feel that it's going to rub people the wrong way and get called out. So just be very careful, Aquarius. You are a very intelligent sign, and I feel like you can absorb and, for a lot of information just by gleaning something. So I feel that you tend to jump to conclusions. And a lot of the times your intuition and your intellect, guides you to the right conclusion. But I feel that for this month, especially with this heavy Mercury retrograde and cycle shadow period, it's really important for us to know our facts and where we're getting our information, so that we are not, so that we can like back up our claims. Okay, be careful about that. So money is a little bit slow. Especially for the first half of the year, but I do feel that it's going to pick up for you, okay? So we do have the third house, which deals once again with siblings and communication. We have the star in the reverse position, and the star in the reverse position here, it's, I don't want to say it's a bad card, but I do want to say that, communication can go awry where it can actually hurt people. I feel like big egos, I feel, pride, like somebody's pride being pricked. So that's the message that I'm hearing. So just make sure you communicate in a way where it is meaningful, where it's a little bit calmer, where you don't agitate other people. And likewise, if somebody is trying to engage you in a verbal debate and you don't really care for that topic, just, shake them off, okay? Don't let things escalate. Try to aim for de-escalation. Don't get yourself embroiled in a conflict with somebody that, is like, who refuses to see the truth. So it's really important to just curb our tongue, to be patient with other people, and to watch our communication. As it pertains to siblings, especially, and you could be if you're like the only child, I don't feel this is going to apply to you, but it does deal with communication. So maybe that message is the takeaway message for you. If you have siblings, step siblings, whatever the situation might be, I do feel that When it comes to your siblings, we have the star in the reverse position. And the star in the reverse position, this is a card about, getting a sense of direction when it comes to our aspirations, our dreams, our our spiritual journey. When it shows up in the reverse position, I feel like there's a little bit of like sibling rivalry comparison, comparing yourself to other, your sibling, or there's a sense of like your sibling comparing themselves to you. There might be some jealousy. There might be some, like, I feel like a little bit of envy, a little bit of resentment as it pertains to siblings and responsibilities, and when it comes to household obligations, even the environment that you grew up in as well, the family unit that you grew up in as it pertains to siblings. I feel like there might have been some type of imbalances, like unfairness. Somebody feels like they were left out. Somebody felt as if, one parent favored the other child more. There's some type of envy going on in the sibling department. If the communication is starting out in that manner, just be patient with one another, okay? Because I feel like there is immense healing that needs to happen when it comes to healing, not family issues, but like, either whatever problems, whatever estrangement that has happened between siblings. It's really important to just, air out your dirty laundry and see where it goes. And I feel that for whatever reason, there is a little bit of a chip on somebody's shoulder, having like dealing with some type of resentment, having to take care of something, like feeling as if one sibling's very irresponsible and then somebody has to step in and play the role of like the fixer-upper, or have to do some damage control as it pertains to sibling relationships. I do feel that this is an area that is of a major concern for you guys coming into the. If you feel like there might have been some unfairness or some resentment, whatever the issue might be, and we grow up with one another as siblings, and we know everything about the other person, so it's really important to like really try to see them as the person they could be rather than the person that they are right now, and work from that angle. Okay, I do feel a lot of healing needs to happen as it pertains to like family relationships, especially siblings. All right. The fourth house deals with family and the mother, and both of these cards are linked up so strongly with this heavy water energy. It just feels like a lot of it is drama created within the family unit growing up. And let me just talk about this. The Page of Cups. Let me talk about the mother. This is somebody that is a little bit of who's like attention seeking, for example. Okay. And I feel that they're gonna be in a position where they're not able to help themselves. And when you look at this card, usually it indicates like a child, somebody who is a child or who is behaving like a child. And when a child, this is shown up in the reverse position, it basically means that their emotional needs are not met. They don't feel nurtured and loved and cared for. And when they don't feel loved and nurtured and cared for, they're going to lash out. And they're going to lash out in a way where it seems a little bit childish, kind of like throwing tantrums, saying hurtful things that they don't mean, and then pretending like they didn't say it. So I feel like, when it comes to like a mother relationship, you're going to be called upon to deal with this person, and you're going to have to basically teach them to communicate in a meaningful way that expresses their actual needs, that is meaningful for other people as well. So rather than throwing tantrums and having that communication breakdown, it is really important to teach them, how to communicate effectively so that they can get what they want, or they can get their point across in order for you to help them get what they want. This is also as it pertains to your family environment. This is a child. This can be your child that you're living with or taking care of. This is somebody who is quite manipulative. So be careful about deception. Be careful about exaggeration or like misrepresenting the truth. Okay. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody who's a little bit sneaky, and I do feel that they're warning you to be on guard. I feel like this child is doing a lot of attention seeking, but it's a water suit. It's not exactly a water sign, but it's a suit of water. So it's somebody who's very like covert. The things that they do is a little bit like under the radar. It's very subtle. It's hard to catch them in the act, but you know there's something distrustful about them, okay? So it's a month for you to be extra vigilant, I feel. And I feel like this child feels very, very emotionally neglected. I feel this child feels almost like neglected, unloved, and, you know, like almost as if they're doing it out of a sense of resentment or frustration, or, you know, just screaming out for attention, but not wanting to draw the attention to themselves. So there is a little bit of a covert, sneaky behavior. Specifically, if it's a child of yours, I do feel a child with heavy water energy. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, I do feel somebody, you know, under the age of 20, okay? If you're dealing with a mother figure, this is a Sun, Moon, Rising, water sign. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, somebody that might be, they're not able, like, I feel like they're dealing with a lot of frustration. They're also feeling unloved, unappreciated. Sore spot, I feel, for many of you, and it's important to straighten this area out. And especially if you're, you know, if you're the only child, I feel like there's some type of a chip on your shoulder here about feeling a little bit lonely, feeling misunderstood, and feeling as if you don't have a sibling to bounce ideas off of, or you know, your mother might have, like, for example, might have wanted a boy and then you were a girl, or they might have wanted a girl and you were a boy. And so there is this overall sense of like feeling as if you couldn't live up to your mother's expectations. So that's coming through, especially for those who are, you know, only child or dealing with this, okay? So what's coming through in your fifth house? In the fifth house deals with fun, recreation, creativity. We do have here the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords basically indicates messages, news, communication that is coming through very, very swiftly. Things that you might not want to confront, but it's not necessarily bad or good. It's just, you know, very straightforward communication. So a lot of you in this sector, it deals with flirtation. It deals with people that you're hanging out with and having fun with. A lot of you might be dealing with an air sign. So this is another air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And this is somebody who behaves also with a very, very young energy. I feel like, you know, this is what I call like somebody with good intentions is showing up in the upright position. They have a good heart, they have good intentions, and I feel like they might have a penchant for mimicking other people in a way where it might be hurtful. They might behave in a childish manner where they swing their sword about. You know, they might hurt people unintentionally with their words, with the thing they say, with mockery or with like mimicry or with like some type of communication that is not adult-like. And I do sense this is coming through in the environment that you're dealing with, as, you know, it pertains to like going out, having fun, and being even like flirting with somebody like this. A lot of you might be dealing with someone like this in your romantic sector, okay? Either you're dating them or you are seeing them, like you're just started dating them, talking to them, seeing them, whatever the situation might be. I feel like you're heavily dealing with an air sign, and there might be a lot of similarities between you and them. So I do sense that thorough, honest, careful communication needs to be cultivated for this month, no matter who you're dealing with. I also feel this is somebody who's very, very honest, okay? And their honesty is almost brutal. It's almost like they're so honest that the things that they say might be a little bit embarrassing, and they're so honest that whatever you ask them, they might tell you way more than you want to hear. So be careful about this. I do see an overall energy of just be careful. Do not get involved into gossip and things like that. Don't overanalyze situations as it pertains to like gossip floating around, because I feel like it's coming back from bad people, and it's coming from distruthful communications, okay, and communicators as well. So keep your wits about you. Don't listen to, you know, riffraff and gossip as it pertains to your relationships and people that you're romantically linked up with, okay? So this is fifth house, sixth house. The sixth house is the Chariot, and this is a card that is really, really positive. So the sixth house deals with work, health, and your everyday routine. When it comes to work, this basically means, in the mundane sense, commuting to work. So you might have a far commute, might have like a short commute. I feel like it's going to be a far commute. So this is like, an hour, 2 hours away commuting for work. What I'm also feeling with this card is you're going to feel like you're in the zone of things. Work is going to flow really smoothly. And I feel that, you're going to catch your second wind. It's almost like knowing how to do things, understanding how things work, where you do it like automatically. You don't have to consult other people. Things are going really smooth and really well for you. This is also indicative of like, daily routine and things like that. I feel a lot of you are making very good progress when it comes to getting into shape, having a fixed schedule, having meal plans, having exercise routine and things like that, which greatly simplifies your life. And I feel that, you're doing so in a very good manner, like in a very productive manner. Overall, it indicates high productivity. It indicates like streamlined processes. Things are going according to plan, and you're kind of like on, automatic mode, okay? As it pertains to your health, there's going to be a victory over health. And this is a card about a victory overall. So if you have been getting some, beginning of the year health checkup or whatever it is, like, going to the dentist, finding out you don't have cavities, going to the doctor, finding out your blood sugar is normal. So there's going to be some type of health, I guess, improvement, or even like victory over health issues. Okay, so if you have, I almost feel like if you have some, improper diagnoses in the past, if you had like, for some reason, I feel stomach issues, I feel like migraines, I feel like overall, whatever health issue has been plaguing you, and you couldn't find like proper diagnoses, I feel like some breakthrough when it comes to being able to find whatever it is that ails you. So that's going to be coming through as well, okay? So I mentioned money is just a little bit slow, but I do feel that, the work is still going to be keeping you busy, okay? Be careful about following dead leads, because I feel like you're very quick to bounce back. But I feel like, there might be a lot of people coming at you with a lot of questions, and then they just peter out. You lose communication with them after, 3-4 emails. So just be careful about that, and just, keep doing you, because I feel like this is a very good card as well when it comes to your work situations. So seventh house, relationships and work partnership. This is a very positive card. So needless to say, as it pertains to romantic relationships, big pregnancy card. So be careful if you are expecting, congrats. If you are not expecting, take care of yourself accordingly, okay? So this is a very, very big pregnancy card, and it falls in your romantic sector. What I'm also feeling is whenever I see the Empress, it basically means, somebody with a title. So a lot of you might be like taking a relationship to the next level, where you or your significant other, you're calling each other either boyfriend, girlfriend, or like fiance, or like husband, wife, or something like that. It's like somebody giving you a title, or you giving somebody a title. So either way, it indicates like an escalation, moving things along for the better. And I want to say like giving somebody a title, okay? And overall, in your romance relationship sector, with this card, it basically indicates very, very high power of attraction. I feel for a lot of you, you are coming off very sensual, very desirable, very sexual for this month. I feel like, your power of attracting other people is very high. So it's a good month to really get out there and start dating, especially if you're single. I do sense a lot of relationships being official, being made official. I see a lot of people feeling very good about their partner, feeling very appreciated, feeling like, very stable. What I'm also feeling is, makeovers, do-overs, like you might be getting into an exercise routine. I feel like losing weight, gaining weight, but it's like doing so in a happy manner. A lot of you might be doing a lot of makeovers as well, okay? And it's looking very positive. Just, don't expend too much money in that manner. Let me see. The last message that I'm feeling here is I feel like for those of you who are expecting, it's going to be very positive. Okay, this is a really good foundation here. When it comes to if you are in a business partnership with another person, for example, if you're in a business partnership, I do sense that things are really flourishing for you. Like there is an energy of expanding a business, getting a loan in order to buy higher value, products. So high-end products, or if if you need equipment for whatever that business is, I do feel like money coming through where you can afford like, top of the line products or even equipment for your joint business. So it's a really, really good merger, business partnership merger between different companies or even between business partners. So it's a very, very positive card. The next house is the eighth house, and the eighth house and the 12th house are a little bit complicated. The eighth house, for the sake of this reading, I'm just going to say joint finances, okay? And just to simplify, mainly because it's a house of sex, death, regeneration, but just for simplicity, we're not looking into the natal chart, we're just looking into, how astrologically things are going to pan out for you using the tarot as a method of like storytelling. So for simplicity's sake, we're just going to say like joint finances because that is more meaningful when we're looking at just 1 month. So with the Justice card in the reverse position, the first thing that I'm feeling here is, first of all, if you are sharing joint finances with another person, so it's usually somebody who's linked up in your family situation, right? There's going to be a sense of imbalance. So basically, somebody is kind of like mooching off another person. So I feel like somebody is putting in a lot of the work or a lot of the financial resources, and the other person is resting on their laurels. So there's some type of imbalance here. It might not be, like 90-10, where somebody is putting in all the work and the other person is just sitting back and not doing very much. It could be like 60-40, where it's a little bit imbalanced, but it's bearable. So this is one of the first things I want to warn you about. When these imbalances are basically unchecked, they can escalate to codependency. And it's really important to have a discussion as it pertains to your household, whoever you're living with, if you're sharing money with them, if you're sharing a space with them, if you're sharing responsibilities with them, and even, child rearing with them. These little imbalances are going to escalate, I would say. So, like whoever, if like you have chores that are divided between two people, somebody might be very, very busy working the night shift, and they don't have the time to take care of these chores, just make sure they do it, okay? If you do it, just make sure they reciprocate the week after to do their share of the work, because I feel like things are not balanced out in your living environment. As it pertains to joint finances, this is money as well coming to you. We have the Justice card in the reverse position, so I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a weight when it comes to dealing with other people's money. So if you and another person have applied for a loan, for example, there's going to be some type of legal paperwork. So maybe, somebody might not have the proper credit scores. Somebody might be co-signing for somebody else, and then the other person might renege on their payments, for example. So I feel like all of these things are going to be coming to light. It's not favorable with the legal card in joint finances. So it basically means usually people dividing assets between each other. Usually it signals, like divorce proceedings, and then you're not divorced yet. You're having a discussion about who owns what and where the money is going, so that you can split things along the lines where it's fair. But there's going to be heavy discussions because there are some innate imbalances between the relationship partners, and it's not making things easy to divide up in a black and white manner. What I'm also feeling as well is I feel like if you're in a relationship and, there might be pregnancy, for example, there needs to be some type of discussion about who's doing what and who's taking care of certain responsibilities, okay? Do this now, otherwise these things are going to come back up like in the later part of the year. And the main reason why I do this spread and this way is because there are things that we're not aware of. You know, we might have, like, your tunnel vision is right here. Like, you're still thinking about some situation from the past, so you're not aware of these things, and it's really important for you to take a holistic focus into specific on deal with them now. Okay, so there's something within your household that needs to be balanced out, and I feel like heavy sibling energy, heavy mother energy, as well as responsibilities within the household, somebody's not doing their fair share. Okay, so the next card here deals with the ninth house, and the ninth house deals with higher education, travel, and it also deals with give me one second. So, okay, so higher education, travel. And we have the Ten of Swords in the reverse position. So this is like we're talking long distance travel. And we're also talking about, you know, religion as well. And I guess like philosophical outlook and beliefs. I feel like a lot of you, they're saying like a chip on your shoulder as it pertains to educational attainment. Okay, so let me just put it this way, and it's going to go two ways. Some of you might not have had the financial resources in your childhood environment for whatever reason to achieve, you know, higher education. So that can be even finishing high school, college, grad school, PhD program, whatever the situation is. There's a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and I feel like a lot of you might feel as if, oh, I wasn't intelligent enough. Or, you know, I wasn't blessed to have the opportunity to do that. If you are thinking that, I feel like with the Ten of Swords in the reverse, it's kind of like a do-over. It's like a second chance. So I feel like there's an opportunity for you to pursue something in the avenue of higher education, which can be returning back to school and finishing up that program that you've always wanted to finish. It could be, you know, applying for grad school because if the job market has been bad and you're thinking about upgrading your skills, returning back to school would be very fruitful for you. And then for others, I feel like you might have had a lot of education and you're not able to find work. So I feel that there's a little bit of a chip on your shoulder regarding, you know, your intelligence, like feeling almost like inadequate because you're not able to get the jobs that you want. So there's some chip on your shoulder, some sore spot here when it comes to education as well. And I also feel this is also, you know, it rules long distance travel. And there's opportunities here to take a trip that can be very, very therapeutic. Taking a trip with, you know, either siblings, family, or something like that, or even a romantic partner, going back to a place that might have had some sore spots for you, returning to a place in order to allow healing to happen. Okay, a lot of you might be dealing with somebody who has some health issues overseas that they're struggling with, and you might, you know, be called upon to help them financially or even physically. And then others of you, there might just be, you know, somebody who might have some health issues is reaching out from overseas, or somebody who might have health issues is traveling. If you are yourself traveling, be very, very careful. Be very, very careful about, you know, falls and things like that. So just be cautious about where you're going. Wear proper shoes. Have proper equipment. Do not do any type of adrenaline rush type of activities in an environment that's not secure and it's not safe. Okay? Be careful about that. So I feel like injuries, and when it comes to like overseas travel and, you know, doing like reckless activities, I feel like these are like considered reckless activities. Traveling is actually going to a place, back to a place where you might not have had like a good experience. I feel like that's going to be quite good for you, and especially if there are family members and things like that there that might need your help. Okay, so 10th house deals with career, and it deals with the father figure. We have here the Four of Wands, and let me talk about this in terms of career first, because that's very important. The Four of Wands, this is a foundational card, and foundational meaning that it's something on which, you know, other things can be built. And what I'm sensing here is the Four of Wands indicates a situation that is very, very stable. It's solid, it's stable, it has room for expansion, and it has room for growth. And I feel like for a lot of you, you are in a career track where you feel very good, you feel very stable, and you feel very, very happy. The negative side of this card here is that, stability breeds complacency and it breeds stagnation. This is a very good place that you're at, but they're urging you, don't rest on your laurels, don't kick up your feet and just become complacent. Really think about expanding, really think about, things that you can do in order to make things better. And I do feel one of the major thing here with the Empress card in the business partnership is really think about ways in which you can expand the business, in which you can make something grow, in which you can nurture or foster something from the ground up so that it can add to this type of environment, so that it can create more dynamism, less boredom, and more excitement for you in a work environment. As it pertains to the father figure, I feel like a lot of you might have a type of father who is very, I almost want to say rigid, but it's not in a bad way. Somebody who has like a very, very fixed schedule. They eat a certain thing at a certain time every day. It's like somebody who might have quirks, where they're very particular about certain, very strange quirks, and they're very particular about certain things. I also feel that, with the father figure, there's some very, very positive news coming through within the household. So, he might be purchasing a home. He might be thinking about property. He might be thinking about moving out of the home environment. Might be moving into your home environment. So I feel there's more contact with the father figure coming through for this month. And I feel like you are living together under the same roof with a father figure. So if you have been moved, if you have moved away in the past, there's kind of like, that energy of the father moving back into the picture. You are either moving back into the household with your father. Or the father figure. There's some very, very positive news, transitions, and things like that happening that is very good for him. Okay? When it comes to going back to your career situation, I do feel that this is the month in which there's going to be very, very positive news, especially for those of you. If we are walking around like this, where, we feel like, oh, we had a lot of education, but we're underpaid and underemployed. I feel like there's going to be very positive news when it comes to your ability to get a really good job that is very stable, that will pay you adequately what you're worth, and that will also utilize your skills. And then for others of you, I feel like, especially if you have been applying for work and there might not have been much luck in the past, there's going to be like a sense of feeling almost as if you're going to have some breakthrough, okay? And for those of you who might have just been, working, but you're not thinking about it as a career, you're just going to work, doing the 9 to 5, aiming for something better, I do sense it is going to be made available for you for this month. I do feel like the 14th, and I believe a very big day for a lot of you. So this is something to keep in mind about, okay? So it looks very good. Excuse me. So 11th house, friendships, group associations. So obviously this is a card about reassessment. This is a card about, waiting for that payout. All the work that we put in, we're hoping for some type of a payout. When it comes to your friendships, I feel like a lot of you are going to have to re-examine your friendships. And it's not always negative because, Aquarius, you have a wide circle, wide network of friends. And I feel like what they're asking you for help with is going to seem like kind of a big deal. It's going to seem like, whoa, that's a big favor that you're asking me. And I feel like you might not know them very well and they're asking for something big. And you're going to have to realistically assess, like, why of all people are they coming to you? And whether or not it is practical or even financially feasible or even humanly possible for you to be able to follow through with whatever it is that they're asking. Reassess your friendships, because I feel like this is a little bit of a problematic card because it's a number 7, and number 7 is, it's a very, very spiritual number. And I usually think of this as kind of like when you're like on top of the world, when you're rolling in money, do your friends like come to you, and then who actually comes to you? And then when you're down on your luck, who's actually there? So I feel like a lot of you need to reassess your friendships, and you might need to close some doors on some people. And I feel that you might have like a wide network of friends, but when you're down on your luck, I just feel that there are very few people that you can really rely on. And you're very self-reliant. So I feel like you don't go through life thinking that, oh, I'm going to need help one day and who can I count on? You're very self-reliant, and you try to do things on your own, and you're very stoic, and you can take care of yourself. But I just feel like your friendships, they might not be bad people, but I feel like you're going to need to narrow it down. You're going to need to like really think about what you value and can put up with in friendships and group associations, okay? So it's really important, I feel, starting this year, because I feel like we're looking at some resentment, some hostility here, and I feel like this is a good idea to do, to really reassess if we're still compatible with someone, if we have outgrown somebody. And it doesn't mean, just dumping your friends and things like that. It just basically means reassessing a situation to see if it's still serving your higher purpose, okay? So it doesn't automatically mean scrapping away all the friends that you have right now. It's just reassessing it a little bit more, being a little bit more skeptical, being a little bit more realistic as well as to who your friends are and who your true friends are and who is actually there for you when you need them, as well as, who you should be there for when they need you. I do sense that, they're saying like responsibilities, obligations are coming through from friends, and it's very unexpected, and it's like they're asking big favors of you, and you're not in a position where you can help them, okay? So just something to think about. 12th house. So 12th house deals with institutions and secrets. For the sake of this reading, once again, we're not doing that natal astrology chart. We're just going to focus on, things you're not aware of, okay? So this is a card about expansion. This is a card about, building something of value with another person. So keep in mind, this is something in your environment that you're not aware of. We have the Three of Pentacles here. So there is some shuffling as it relates to your friendships as well as your work environment. And the reason why I also included friendship is I feel like a lot of you are friends with your coworker, you're friends with your boss, you're like actually, you consider them friends. And I feel like there is a sense of camaraderie, a sense of like community when it comes to your work environment. And that can be a little bit problematic. So don't blur the lines between, private life and work life, okay? Keep those things separate. It's good to, really enjoy your coworkers. But if you're like forging like personal relationships on top of professional relationships is not a smart move. So just be careful, especially if you're working for somebody else. So just be careful. So the Three of Pentacles, I think about this as alliances, okay? Alliances being made between people. If you are in an environment where you're working for somebody, they're possibly expanding the business, and they're expanding in a way where they might incorporate two other partners. So you might have, one boss, and then you're later on, further down the line, you're going to have like three bosses, for example. And I feel like overall it's very positive, but this is being kept very hush-hush. And you're not going to hear about this possibly until the springtime. So I feel like things are in the works right now. What I'm also feeling is that they're saying like, I feel like there might be some slowdown when it comes to your money, which means that the work environment, like for some reason, there's a little bit of a slowdown. So they might be hiring contractors, for example, and then that might have somehow affected the flow of things in the work environment. They might be doing some reconstruction, like, fixing up some part of the office, for example. And there's also money being diverted elsewhere. So I feel like rather than expanding the work environment, they're investing in a totally different venture altogether. This is something that's going to be made known to you. It's in the upright position. It's expansion, and it's very, very good. But for some reason, it's kind of like kept behind the scenes at this point. Some third party, like hiring contractors, hiring people, and even merging businesses together. Let me explain these cards in a little bit. So let's see what's in store for Aquarius for love and relationships. I'm going to leave these out and I'll explain it to you in a bit. So Aquarius, I actually feel like you are closing some doors on, relationships from the past. You're closing doors for good. And you're heading into and you're not going to let the past relationship, have its grip or its hold over you, which is very good. You're still thinking about the past though. I mean, you're physically removed from it, but you're still thinking about it. But the energy is going to fade, okay? Okay, so let's just go into your reading. So the reason why I pull these cards out is the Empress fell in your 7th house, which deals with relationship. So this is going to set the tone for the reading, for this love reading. The Page of Swords is in your 5th house, which deals with romantic prospects as well. So I pulled out these cards mainly because it's going to help me pinpoint the energy of the people involved, okay? And it's also a kind of like, it's a good segue to transition between both readings so that they have a common theme. So let's talk about the past. We have the King of Cups as well as the Justice card. Justice is a card about karma when it comes to relationships overall, and this is a love relationships where I feel like it might have been very, very balanced. You might have been involved here with a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, a Scorpio, and this person is showing up in your past, so they could already be in the picture as you enter the month of January. Whatever was going on in their lives, they might have children or they might have had divorce, and they might have dealt with some legal issues, either divorce or child custody issues, okay? This is somebody that you had a very, very emotional bond with. And this is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is somebody who's very in control of their emotions. They know how to love. They know how to sacrifice on a very, very, very deep level. And I feel like for a lot of you, you might have left this person behind. You're no longer dealing with them, mainly because it was a very emotional, heavy experience. And I feel like, with every relationship, at the end of it, there's always like, there's always a little bit of resentment. So no matter how things have ended, I feel like you both were just not compatible people, okay? The Justice card, I want to say that the relationship, it seems to me like two people who were very, very much in love. It was a deep-rooted type of a relationship where you try to do right by the other person. And I feel like, honestly, Aquarius, I feel like you tried more than the other person. Because this is she's holding a sword, and I always think of this as like an air sign type of person, very logical, very rational, very fair-minded, and they don't keep scores. But I feel like the person that you were dealing with, they kept scores. They wanted to balance things out. They wanted to know how much they're putting in versus how much you're putting in. So you're dealing with somebody that might be a little bit more petty, that might have their own motives, and I feel like they're kind of, I almost want to say I feel like they're a very good, loving, responsible person. But I just feel like, they're just not the best match for you. And I feel a lot of you have left this person behind. And which brings us to the present situation. We have the Six of Swords. This is sailing away from troubled water, learning from our past mistakes and moving forward with a more level-headed type of, type of insight, or moving into a place of smoother water. Okay, so either way, I usually think of this as like a refugee. They've been through a lot of emotional turmoil, and there was a lot of pain, disappointment, sadness, regrets. But either way, they're sailing on, mainly because the past cannot be returned to for whatever reason. Okay, it's linked up here with the Four of Coins. So I feel like a lot of you have successfully moved on from this person. And I feel like you really, really love this person. And I feel that you gave your all. And it didn't work out for whatever reason. And I do sense that you're like very emotionally guarded coming into this month because of this past relationship. I feel like it was something very real, and you thought that, it was like a soulmate connection, and this person really taught you a lot of things about yourself. So I feel like, no matter who this person is, you can't deny the fact that you've learned a lot from them. You can't deny the fact that they are capable of great sacrifices. At their best, I feel like they're very patient with you. You might have, tantrums. You might be very like, I feel like OCD. You want specific thing, a specific way, and it's like my way or the highway. And I feel like this person was very accommodating. They soothe you when you were going through your tantrums, and they really understand you on an innate level, and they see the best in you. And for whatever reason that relationship ended, I feel like you learned a lot from them. You've learned a lot from them, and you've picked up all of their great qualities, which is knowing how to sacrifice, knowing how to love unconditionally, knowing how to express yourself, your emotional needs. And that's not something that Aquarius are born with. So I feel like this person really opened up your heart and to allow you to be a lot more sympathetic. And because that relationship has ended, I feel like you come into this month, or you come into your current love relationships very guarded, waiting for the other shoe to drop, being a little bit suspicious. And you're also a little bit like, I almost want to say, you're not ready to let your guard down, okay? The crowning energy here is the thing that you're thinking about. And we have here the Six of Cups, which is once again thinking about a person from the past. And the Six of Cups indicates some type of a emotionally, like, I want to say like a very emotional, heavy experience. It indicates some type of karma that needed to be learned through relationships. So having a relationship partner that taught you a lot of things about yourself and about others, and about how to love and who to love and how to love the correct way. So I feel like it was a very challenging relationship because there were many, many karmic lessons that had to be learned as it pertains to love, okay? And then others of you, we have here the Knight of Wands, which is like a fire sign. This is a Sagittarius, and Aries, or a Leo. So I feel that a lot of you might be dwelling on this past person. And this past person could also be somebody who exhibits the quality of this fire sign. So a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo, sun, moon, or rising. And this is somebody that is, going out, blazing through life, being irresponsible, not taking care of their obligations. And I feel like for some of you, there is some type of resentment here where you're no longer dealing with this person and you're seeing them. You're still thinking about them. You do miss them a little bit. But I feel like a lot of you have moved on because you knew it wasn't going to work. And I feel like, in the extreme case, a lot of you have moved on. And you're now dealing with this other person or thinking about this other person that is bringing a lot of fun, excitement, lighthearted energy into your life, and it's not making everything a heavy emotional experience. So a lot of you might be dealing with this person right now or thinking about this person right now, which is, a fire sign. The foundation of this reading here is, things that you know to be true, already in the picture, etc. So the first card we have here is the Queen of Wands, which is another fire sign. So Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. This is somebody who's very nurturing, very caring. And I feel like they shower a lot of compliments on you. And I feel like they're very, very verbally expressive, and they're very affectionate. And I feel like the change of scenery between these two people is that this one keeps all of their emotions in. You don't know how they feel. And I feel like they're doers, they're not talkers. And I feel like with this person, they're a little bit more verbal. So the exchange between the two of you is a little bit easier. And it's also, fire and air. They're a lot more compatible with you. So I feel that, you are in a position where you are being showered on, doted on, and really taken care of by another person this month. And I feel like if you're dating somebody where there is an age gap, So for example, I feel like you might be the younger one and then the other person is older. And no matter what sign they are, if you're a younger Aquarius dating an older person, and I would say, more than 5 years older, they treat you in a way where, they almost treat you like with kitty gloves. They really, I feel like they patronize you, not in a disrespectful way, but I feel like they really like your quirks. I feel a lot of you might be OCD, like you're very particular about what you want and how things are placed, and they're very careful about accommodating you, which is very sweet. It's also linked up here with the Queen of Swords, and this is what brought me to say, OCD, somebody with quirks, because I feel like somebody twitching. I feel like somebody who like gets annoyed very easily, and who gets annoyed at like very odd things. We all have our quirks, but I feel like the smallest thing can trigger some of you off this month. And so this person is like very indulgent. They know how to calm you down. And I feel like you're in a very, very good position to like reciprocate for this person. They're very generous, very loving, so you're in a good position. A lot of you might also be dealing with an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising as well. So you have all kinds of people coming through, fire and air mainly. So, and we have the 8 of Coins as well. So this is, I feel like if you are single, this is a air sign, fire sign that you might be meeting in your work environment, and I do sense it's going to be a very positive experience for you. Just be careful about mixing business with pleasure. That's something I mentioned earlier. Okay, so just be very careful about that. Don't cross that line, because I feel heavy work energy where people are attracted to their coworkers or flirting with coworkers, and there might be, one coworker, and then like 2 other coworkers having their eyes on the same person. So it's going to create some awkwardness and just weird energy in the office, and you don't want that to happen. So be careful about mixing business with pleasure, and just be careful about gossip and office, romances. Okay, just be careful. What's coming through for you guys here is the Lovers, and I feel like this is a really good spread overall for Aquarius. The Lovers, basically a lot of physical attraction, a lot of chemistry, and 2 people traveling together. I feel like you might be discussing travel. You might be traveling to see somebody that you are romantically involved with. And I feel like I usually think of this as, just a very, very great chemistry, very great rapport. It's a card that indicates like complementarity. 2 people that are very different, but they're working harmoniously together. With the Ace of Wands too, which indicates great passion. Be careful about pregnancy, because the Ace of Wands here, it usually indicates a lot of, sexual energy. It's very, very high sexual energy. So be careful about pregnancy, okay? For those of you who are single, you're going to meet somebody who's really, really great, okay? And I feel like that the fire sign is somebody who is already in your life, very stable and very nurturing, very accommodating, okay? And I feel like a lot of you have left a water sign behind. You're still very much guarded, and you're trying to move on with your life. You're thinking about a fire sign here. You're thinking about someone who's very fun, very adventurous, but you have other options coming through. So I feel like we're dealing with a lot of different people, but what's coming through for you looks very great. There's opportunities for fun and excitement. And with this card, once again, the Page of Swords showing up in your 5th house of fun, romance, recreation, and, even love and creativity. I feel like, so, this is a person looking back at their past, right? They've got their sword out, blocking out the future, and they're looking back at their past. And I feel like this energy, whoever this person was in your past, this water sign from your past, it was a very, very heavy emotional experience. You're not over it. I feel like this person really left their mark on you. Like there was a lot of love, but I feel like it was a very, very it was a heavy emotional experience is the best way that I can describe it. Because I feel like at their worst, they were manipulative. At their best, they were like very loving towards you, very understanding, very loving towards you. And I feel like the love was real, but it just left a scar on you, and you're very protected, okay? You're still not over it. You're still looking back at the past, and you're not able to move on and enjoy the new people that are in your life. So appreciate your blessings, Aquarius, and move on. You need to close some doors. I feel like a lot of you have physically moved on, but I feel like you're still carrying the scars with you and the pain with you. And it's not good for you on an energetic, spiritual level. You might have physically moved on, but if you're constantly, checking their social media, if you're constantly reading their past text messages or emails from the past, it's not helping those wounds to heal, okay? So you have to release it. Let it go. Don't guard it and don't cherish it so much where you're not seeing the past for what it is. Release and let go. And so that's what I have for you, Aquarius. If you like a private reading, please visit my website. The information is in the description box below where you can view my availability and my appointment. I hope the new format has been helpful for you guys. I actually really like it, so I might continue it for the rest of the year. And if you'd like to donate to my channel as well, more than welcome. I would really appreciate that. So the link for the donation is in the description box as well. I do wish you all the very